stick around, come through and dig the sound of the fly brown 6060 cycle. Who those hits from now back and go.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Wine Down with Kev. We're on a mission here, 50 podcasts, 50 agents, 50 different states. And today we're traveling to Edmond, Oklahoma. But before we get there, let me begin by saying thank you to you for all of you that are taking time out of your busy day, watching the live stream on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you're catching us at, you are appreciated. Special thanks to all of you, so many of you that have already hit the subscribe and the notification button. You are appreciated. Can't go far without thanking my sponsors, Canopy Connect, all things digital, make your insurance life a lot easier. If you don't know, check out the logo behind me, follow them, learn about them, thank me later. And Carol Media, for all of you looking to take your social media presence to the next level, please reach out to Carol Media. Last but definitely not least, my friends at Wintrust, that's my bank, definitely can't do it without the banker. So today, I let you know that we are going to Edmond, Oklahoma, where we are meeting with a phenomenal agent, award-winning agent, every level award-winning agent, been around for over 20 years, always top of the leaderboard. He's won all the awards that Allstate has to offer. He's an elite agent. He's also quite a hunter and a fisherman. Put your hands together and give me a warm Wine Down with Kev welcome for Shawn Reeves. Shawn, how we doing today?
And I'm doing great, Kevin. How about yourself?
I'm good. I want to talk about the fun stuff first. I talk about insurance all day. I saw you out there hunting and fishing. Let's talk fish. Tell me what you guys were doing. You were hanging out with quite a crew.
Yep. We actually met up, a group of guys of us try to get together once a year and do a little turkey hunting, actually. And it wasn't going in our favor. So we decided to, I guess in fishing slang, as you would say, cut bait. And we went from turkey hunting to fishing. So we hit the lake and it was fruitful for us and we were blessed. So great company, great group of guys, and just had a great time together. So
I love it. Where were you at and what did you catch?
We were right outside of Huntsville, Alabama, and
nice.
Mainly just largemouth bass is what we were fishing for.
I love it. Hard for me to eyeball the weight of the fish, but I saw pictures. They look pretty big. 20 pounds, 17, 25 pounds, somewhere in that area?
Oh, I wish I'd have been hard to contain myself like that. We had some nice ones between 3 and 5, which are still a pretty good time. We probably caught 30 fish that morning. So
nice. Well, I've been down there to that Huntsville area with you on the lake. I know what that's like. It's completely beautiful. I can only imagine the time that you had. But what happened with the turkeys? They didn't want to come out to play?
They weren't doing what they were supposed to. So it was in their favor and they won that battle. So but that's part of it. It's not about, that's why they call it hunting and not killing. So,
okay. Part of it. What's the I want to go from hunting to insurance, because in the insurance business, definitely not the same thing as really hunting. I always joke with Craig. I've never been. Yeah. He's invited me. I just got to take him up on the invitation.
Yeah, you should.
I definitely will. I just don't want to slow the crew down. I want to be a good guy out there, not getting away.
Yeah, I hear you.
Good stuff. Well, let's go from hunting to insurance. That's what we do in the insurance business every day. I gave you a little bit of the introduction on the business side, but tell the people a little bit about yourself personally.
I've been an insurance agent for 22, 23 years now, and feel a little bit seasoned. And then every time I start to feel a little bit seasoned and I've got everything under control, another wrench comes at us and we realize we've got so much to learn. So that's one of the things that I think is unique about this business, is that it's always evolving and always changing, and there's always new perspective and there's always more to learn.
No, absolutely. 22 years. It's, a ton, but you never stop learning at all. You never stop learning at all. Shawn, before we go business, talk a little bit about the family. I think I saw some pictures. You were golfing with your daughter.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have 3 children, and my oldest is 23, my daughter. She actually graduates from college next month. I have a 21-year-old who is in college as well, and both of them are at the University of Oklahoma. And then I have another son who's almost 19, and he is in college as well. And he is bouncing back and forth between being a rock star, literally, and a college student. So somehow he's managing to balance both of those lives pretty well and doing pretty well at it. So
I love it. Well, congratulations to the graduate. Congratulations to the attendee of college, and big shout out to the rock star. Got to pursue the passion while you can, right?
That's right. That's right. It's a fine line, at 19 to encourage them to chase something like that, and then also have a backup plan or another plan, and complete your education and prepare yourself no matter what comes your way, really.
Right. I would say as a fellow parent, I think we all dance on that razor blade, trying to find the balance in between. Go Sooners. Is your daughter playing golf for fun, or is she like a serious golfer on the team? What level are we talking?
Oh gosh, no, neither one of us are very good at all. When she was growing up, she did competitive cheer, and, we traveled so much with that, and it was really, really, really good for the character building. And, all these years I took, when she was growing up, I'm like, Mackenzie, you need to get into golf or tennis or something, just try another hobby, something that will last outside the cheer mat, and she never really was interested. And then the last couple of years, she's kind of picked up golf because she did not do cheer in college. And, it's just something that she and I've started doing recently. And, at this point, I'm trying to squeeze out every minute that I can with them, because I know their lives are getting ready to change, and a whole lot less time for dad than there is right now. So I'm trying to milk it for everything it's worth.
Well, you picked up a great new hobby to golf with her. Gives you a great way to spend time with her, walking and talking. Should she choose to talk? I know young kids don't talk these days. So, if you have 2 hands on the club, no phone, maybe there's some conversation, and that's a good thing.
Right. That's right. That's right. So
talk to me about what you love about the insurance business.
There's several aspects of it. And I think that evolves throughout the career. At first it was, when I first got in it, I was in the car business, and I was working all kind of nights and weekends and holidays. And it just seems like I was spending all my time at the car dealership. And growing up, my dad was in the grocery business, so he was gone a whole lot of time. And then when my daughter was born, I realized really, really quickly that really, not that I didn't appreciate my dad for what he provided for us, but I really wanted to see the kids grow up.
Yeah.
And I had an opportunity, very, very small clientele. When she was about 3 months old, jumped on it, hadn't looked back. It's given me the flexibility, the ability, when I first started, there was a lot of flexibility, and probably too much flexibility for my discipline level, right? So I realized pretty quickly that, my lack of discipline and my lack of effort was significantly paying attributes to my lower income that I was expecting. But, that's a fine balance. And, at first it's, let's get in here and let's build our book and get ourselves positioned where we're financially stable. And it allows you to help a lot of people during the process. And I think one of the things that really changed my perspective on insurance, in Oklahoma, we have tornadoes pretty much every year.
Okay.
We've already had, I think, probably 100 or so already this year.
100.
Yeah. But I think one of the things that probably changed my perspective more than anything is whenever you have to deliver that first life insurance death benefit on a policy that you wrote. And, you hear all the scripts and everything that the trainers teach you, but nothing tugs on those heartstrings like realizing that these people don't have to move out of their home. They don't have to worry about who's going to pay the mortgage and things like that based on the efforts that you put forth 2 years ago or whatever that case may be, because you don't ever know. And seeing the difference, it becomes a whole lot less about premium dollars and policy counts and things like that whenever you see what you did and how it affects someone's life.
Shawn, I love it. It sounds like as you tell this story, you're thinking of a real specific example. I don't know if it was first or a later one. Hey, DJ, what's up? I'm in the middle of recording the podcast.
I know, man.
No. Yeah, so, this guy, we want to talk about something different. He's trying to get his website and his Google My Business page going.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody knows you helped me to get to the 2 Comma Club, and be seen by a couple of million people. But this person wants to do something different. They're trying to run ads to their book of business, their model line campaigns and stuff like that.
I know, Kev.
Oh, man. Well, DJ, talk to the people, man, so I can get back to the podcast. How can you help?
Yeah, man. So listen, I can help you by running monoline ads to your auto, your home, as well as optimizing your website, your Google business profile, and your social media outlets. We can do the exact same thing we've done for Kevin over the years and get you in front of millions of sets of eyeballs to help you grow your business. Contact Carroll Media today. Kev, let them know.
DJ, I appreciate you jumping in the podcast. Hit up Carroll Media. DJ, I got to go. I got to get back to the podcast.
I know.
But can you share, without sharing the client's name, what that experience was like?
Well, it's just like it, anybody else that's been in the business. You meet a customer and write their home and auto, and you develop a relationship with them, and then they start to listen to you, and then finally you're like, we're doing a policy review. Tell me about your life insurance. Tell me what you have outside of work. And, dealt with this customers. And I've had several of them, but this one that really kind of opened the door. And like I say, just the unexpected happened. It was a medical condition. And, I just went to him and say, listen, I'm so sorry for your loss. Whenever you're ready to talk, just let me know and I'll have everything ready. And, they come to you and that you can't take the pain away from their loss, but the last thing that they want to deal with during that loss is how everything's going to happen. And they have the peace of mind that they're taken care of. They don't have to lose the house. We've also had the calls that come in, and you've had them and everyone else has had them. And hey, did he ever do that life insurance policy? And if he didn't, I don't know how I'm going to stay in this house. And those calls happen 48 hours, when after someone dies. Yeah. And you just don't want to let that happen. And knowing that you did your job and, you tried to help them, and then you see the benefits, that how it truly changed their lives. That's probably the most rewarding part about the business.
I love it, Shawn. You definitely did justice to that story. You set it up right. Sometimes we're the hero and sometimes we're the GOAT. We feel good. It's an odd feeling that I've never been able to describe the right way. When there's a loss in the community, everybody brings what they can. Some people bring water, some bring dessert, some bring chicken, but we bring a check, you know, and that's the thing that allows that family to stay there. So thank you for opening up. And, that's the hero story, but I've lived the GOAT story as well.
Sure.
We do the best we can to fully protect people, but sometimes we get the call, did I have collision or comp or rental car? And we can get past that. But the story that burns, that really hurts, is, did he go ahead and buy the policy? And, you have to balance answering that the right way without, without disparaging the person that's no longer here. So it's a balancing act that definitely comes with experience. And I'm sure you've done it well. I'm sure you've absolutely done it well. So you said a couple of things there, but the thing that jumps out at me, we're just approaching about the 100th day of the year as we record this in early April. and
Yeah.
hundreds of tornadoes. With that in mind, with your local area expertise, 22, 23 years, lines up perfectly with your daughter's age. What are some of the most important coverages that people move into your area that they absolutely have to have that's non-negotiable with the Shawn Reeves agency?
Well, the one thing is when we're talking about property, make sure we're adequately insured. That's the one thing that we want to make sure that the home is insured properly. We don't want to, and this is one of the things I've tried to teach my sales staff to make sure they're conveying to a customer. We don't want to charge you $1 more than we absolutely have to.
Yes.
But we do not want any holes in your coverage, right?
Yes.
We don't want any gaps, because no one ever calls in after an accident and say, how much did my policy cost? They don't ask that question. It's,
No.
am I covered for this? And how do you want to be able to answer that? And sometimes when we're talking to the customers and they're getting the quotes, we ask them, say, if you were to call in, how do you want us to be able to answer that for you?
Yes.
And that it gets to be a whole lot more important. Property is important. One of the things that a lot of people on property don't remember or don't think about during the time of policy purchase is scheduled items.
Yes.
That's kind of a big thing. People think, 50% of my house value, 300,000, that sounds like a bunch. And, and it is, but sometimes, there are certain things that they want to make sure that are covered and are going to be replaced. And if we don't know those and we don't know to ask those, they don't know to tell us. So the main thing is to make sure that we ask all the right questions, whether we get the answer we want. We've done our due diligence to make sure that we've done our best to protect them.
No, I love it. And we started this conversation off lightly talking about hunting and fishing. I like to ask the hobby question, right? Shawn, what do you do for fun? I assume there's a, living room set and some bedroom sets, but do you collect anything in your home that might be a little bit unique? And I think that's really where you open up and get to know people a little bit.
Collections, no. I'm not a big collector. A lot of people, especially in the that have hunting and fishing hobbies, collect, firearms and things like that. To me, they're tools. I mean, it's just something I use. Sports fans, I'm not a big autograph person. To me, that's a person that wrote their name just like I write my name, right?
Yes.
So I'm not that person. The main thing, for fun, I spend all the time that I possibly can with the wife and the kids. We go on ATV trips a couple times a year and to the Arkansas mountains and ride ATVs and go up there with friends. And then, the hunting trips, we try to go on a couple a year, and they're more just, more so than the hunting. It's about the companionship and the congregation and just being with our friends and family when we do that. So, it's more, I look forward to that more so than I actually do the hunting, is sitting around at the cabins and, around the campfires and visiting and telling stories and stuff after the hunt and things like that. That's my favorite part. So
I love it.
As far as things like that, I mean, those are priceless memories that there's no way I could put a value on. And that's my favorite thing to do.
No, I absolutely love it. And when you tell the story, you bring me right there. You brought up your staff earlier and the importance of teaching it to sell the right way, overcoming those price objections. Tell me a little bit about your staff. Tell me a little bit about your team.
We've grown quite a bit lately. Right now we're sitting at 10 service people and 10 salespeople and 4 service people. We had a really good month last month for us. We wrote 334 items and just under 400,000 in premium.
Nice.
For the team. So we had a good month. One of the things that, everybody has their sales style and everybody says, well, what's your script? What do you say with this? And I'm like, I don't like using scripts. You can't. Every person is different.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think that I try to do differently is, and it was taught to me in the sales process, ask disturbing questions.
Ooh, I like that.
When we are very, very big advocates of leading with liability and umbrella coverage, but people, the average consumer, when you start throwing numbers out on 100, 300 and 250, 500 and $1 million and all this other, to them, that's capital, right?
Yes.
And the majority of our clients are not managing capital. They're trying to get through month in, month out, make sure their family's taken care of, make sure they can get a little bit in the savings, whatever the case may be. And I think a lot of times when you lose them when you start doing that. Let's talk to them, talk to them like they're real.
Yes.
We had a case yesterday where, she had 4 cars, and had a travel trailer, camper travel trailer, and things like that. And especially being with someone, I pull trailers with my vehicle, and just ask them, say, if you have a blowout on that camper and that thing gets sideways, what happens? How do you financially recover from that? And
Nice.
To us, that's a lot. To me, and I've tried to teach that to them, that's a lot better way than talking to them about losing hundreds of thousands of dollars and all this stuff that they don't have any way to conceptualize it. But having a blowout on a camper, that's something that happens every day and is realistic, but it can have detrimental, circumstances following it.
That's real, very, very real, very relatable. And I think everybody would answer it to say, well, hey, Ray, it's Kevin. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. You guys have been helping me out for a while with all the digital things you can do at Use Canopy. But some of my guys, they're still having a hard time adjusting to the digital age. Talk to the people, Ray, please.
Yes, sir. Well, Canopy Connect is the insurance data intake platform. Send a link out to your prospect. They, click on it, find their insurance carrier. We got like 350 insurance carriers on there. Click that, sign in, and they can be done there. You can ask them a few more questions you want, but we're going to pull all that insurance information, give it to you right in a nice dashboard.
That sounds pretty quick. What are we talking? 2 or 3 minutes?
Less. You can do that in 30 seconds, man.
Wow. Nick, you're a big time marketing guy. What do you think?
I think Canopy Connect is one of those tools that everybody should have in their back pocket. Makes it easy to use. You can send it out in emails and text messages. You can use it in social media campaigns, X-Date campaigns. All of those methods will work with Canopy Connect.
Guys, I got to get back to the podcast, but you heard it right here. Use Canopy Connect. Go digital. Leave old school in the past. Nick and Ray, I'll catch you guys later. Easy.
Let's go. See ya.
I've got this lined up, or I don't have a plan. What does happen? And then you're there. But I like you saying, ask disturbing questions. That's huge. You don't have someone's attention until you rock the apple cart a little bit.
Yeah. And I really, when I first started, we were really heavy in the life insurance. So, and I really kind of picked that up from there. One of the things I used to do when I would have husband and wife in my office, depending on who the breadwinner was. So if it's a traditional household, where the man is the breadwinner and the lady is the homemaker, I would look at her and say, sir or ma'am, let's have a scenario. He doesn't make it home after this interview. Tell me what happens. And he starts to talk. And I'm like, well, hold on a second. You're dead. We can't talk to you. Right.
Right.
And let her come up with that. And it really gets them thinking, and it really disturbs their average way of thinking and what they have been thinking. And to me, it's all about them. So we need to be talking about what's important to them, what they're trying to protect. It's not about the policy I want to sell them. And it's not about how much it costs. It's how does it protect your lifestyle? And I think when we take that out of the life insurance sale and do that in the property and casualty world as well, it just works. It's a win for everyone.
Well, we're speaking to the customer's pain point, and we're not just hearing ourselves speak, right? To throw numbers out. It sounds like we're trying to recruit them and get them licensed, and they do what they do for a living, and they don't want to do this. They just want us to solve the problem. It's like over explaining to me how the back of the TV or the back of the phone works. Right. I don't know. I don't have the capacity to process it. I just know I need a phone and I need a TV. So let's talk about that and get me a TV so I can get out of here. But
That's right.
Let me ask you, when you painted a perfect scenario, the husband and wife in the office, these days here in New York, I don't get that very much. You know, mostly everything we're doing selling wise is happening online on the phone. How is that for you, and what digital adjustments have you made to the changes in the world, if you will?
You know, you're exactly right. It is quite different than it used to be face to face. We still encourage the people, if they have the desire, you know, to meet us face to face. We offer that, encourage it. I think the biggest difference is that one of the things that it's so hard to get my producers to understand is the people we talk to, you know, and we're with a captive company, all right? They are talking to us because they want to talk to us.
Yes.
And they could have clicked buy now with the same device that they hit, you know, click get a quote, have them call me or whatever. They could have clicked buy now from an online provider. They could have talked to someone in a call center, but they did not.
Yes.
They want your expertise. And they said, oh, we're too high. We're too high. You haven't provided enough value, but they don't want to buy online. That segment still exists. It's still extremely strong. You know, the customers know this is their largest financial asset that they're protecting. And they get online and get a quote and like, oh, wait a minute, I need to ask a professional about this. That's what's in the back of their head, you know, even though they're not telling you that, but they want to buy from you. And I think it doesn't matter how you use the digital, you know, we're very, very heavy in text messages, but we don't quote and try to sell over text. You know, we use the text to try to schedule to get them on the phone. So we have that personal relationship with them, so they know who they're talking to. Even though it's not in person, they still can develop a sense of knowing us, liking us, and trusting us over a phone call. But the main thing is you have to make sure that it's not the product that makes the difference, it's you that makes the difference. And I've been able to get that concept ingrained about 80 to 85% of my people. You know, the other 10%, oh, it's, you know, they're just price driven. They're just price driven. I'm like, why didn't they buy online when they were searching? You know, that's what you got to ask yourself.
Well, Shawn, I think when it comes to there's so much information at our fingertips, we can look anything up, including we can get a little health advice. But if that little cough I just let go, if it goes for 2 days, I'm going to a local professional.
Right.
I'm going in to see somebody. I'm going to get a little advice.
Right.
No matter what I Google, no matter what I chat GPT, I need an antibiotic from someone that can actually prescribe it, not from someone that's recommended something I can read about. There's a difference.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And, you know, and we get the same thing. And I use that comparison with a lot of my salespeople. I'm like, listen, excuse me. If you were to go to the doctor, you know, is he really worried about what the 3 doctors before him told him? No, he's going to do his due diligence. He's going to run blood work. He's going to do labs for himself. He's going to figure out with his own crew and his own data what he believes is going on. So let's not worry about, you know, what the previous carrier told this person or what some other person that gave him a quote told them or what they read in a chat room online or a group, you know, something like that. Let's have a one-on-one conversation with them and let's find out what's important to them.
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. Oklahoma, there are people listening to this podcast right now, or they'll listen to in the future, and they're going to wonder how hard it is to get a license, to get into the insurance business. And then also they'll want to know if you're hiring and could they have a shot to work for you one day?
It's actually pretty easy. You know, I don't think it's a whole lot different than the other state. I've actually had remote employees from other states as well, and that works well for us. About 90% of my office staff, I have 2 locations. One location I have 1 person in, the other one person I have 1 person in, and then another person that's there about 50-50. But yeah, as far as the licensing process, it's not, I don't think it's a hard exam. I've had my, you know, license for 20 plus years now, but here in our state, there is a group that a lot of people use that is basically just a pre-licensed training.
Okay.
And you actually learn a lot about the insurance business on that. But sometimes in class, they'll tell you, say, listen, this is test land. You need that, those issues will be covered, by your employer. This is test land here. Let's stay here in test land. But, it's not hard to get licensed. Background checks got to be clean. Financial things like that have to be clean. The license process takes, I think it's about a 150, 200 question exam. And then, get with an agent that you're wanting to go to work for and get appointed. It's not that difficult. But yes, I'm always looking for talent. That's one of the things I think that has changed for me in very recent period of time in my career is, we've always heard the term always be hiring, right? And when you're smaller and the cash flow isn't there and you've got personal family obligations, that's a difficult pill to swallow, so to speak.
Yes.
And we've gotten to the size where that pressure has eased up a little bit, but yes. I'm always looking for an asset. And I think that a lot of that comes in the hiring process. I mean, I tell my people straight up, I'm like, listen, I can like you and I can love you to death, but I'm not a large corporation with deep payroll pockets. You've got to pay for your seat, starting right now. I've got enough liabilities. I don't need any more. And if you can come in and be an asset, we have all the tools to help you be successful. We've got lots of training tools, lots of training videos, lots of years of expertise. And we will, if you come and you're coachable and you're driven, the sky is really the limit. I hired a person in February. She put up 34,000 in 2 weeks. In February, and last month she did 65,000 with no pipeline, but she is extremely driven. I have another person hired about the same time, and they've done about 45,000, in a 5-week period of time. Not as driven, still an asset, but I love both of them, but just one is more driven and determined more than the other, and they have higher expectations of themselves.
Right. I like those two qualities that you're looking for in people: coachable, driven. I love driven. I'd love to hear someone answer that question, but it's the behavior that really shows up. What are the other qualities that you're looking for in a good person, if you were to throw two more out there?
Well, one of the things as our team has gotten larger, that we've really realized is that, our culture has always kind of been important to us. The culture of the business, the culture of the agency. And, and I've said this in several groups, and a lot of people kind of look at me a little funny. Our culture isn't do we all get along? Do we all sit around the campfire and sing Kumbaya? That's not culture. Our culture is, when you come in, how driven are you? How quickly are you willing to take in what we're trying to teach you? And can you get up to speed very, very quickly? Okay. And, that's pretty important to us now is how quickly can we get you up and running? Are we talking about a 1 to 2 week process? Are we talking a 3 to 4 week process? That's one of the things I really look for is how fluent are you in learning new things?
No, I love it. Writing the words down while you're saying it: speed and fast-paced environment. If you think sports, we want our favorite teams to get faster. We want them to get younger. And the same thing with our agencies. We want to get fast. Fast matters because people have access to so much information. The expectation of us is much faster than it used to be. So not getting up the speed quickly is a real barrier.
It is. And it's funny you say that, because I use the sports analogy. When I'm talking to my people and training, I use analogies quite a bit. And I do consider our team and look at them from not just a boss. I hate the word boss. When someone calls me boss, I hate it.
Yes.
I want to be your coach. I want to be your leader. Right.
Yes.
And you look at, and I'm a college football guy. I love watching college football in the fall and the dynasty of Alabama football. Right. And Coach Saban. And all those players that played with him that went on and multi-million-dollar NFL contracts and everything else, I'm really going to have trouble believing that one of them was like, I wish Coach Edmond was not so hard on me. I wish he hadn't pushed me that extra bit. I wish he hadn't made me better in this scenario. And I want my team to have that mentality. Like, listen, any correction or anything we try to do is for your benefit.
Yes.
Every change we make in the agency is either good for the producer, good for the agency, or is the best thing for the business. And nothing but. If it doesn't change any one of those items, then there's no need for me to change it.
No, so. I love it. And when I think about what you've said about the weather, the landscape, geography, the tornadoes, really, really important to get up to speed and not just have a license, but to have mastery around the key coverages. What comes to mind for me, not being local in Edmond, Oklahoma, but obviously roof coverage is important, wind is important, deductibles. What am I missing? What are the things that you really drill down that's not corporate driven training, but is coming from Shawn because you've been doing this in this area 23 years. You've seen it all twice. What's important? What's the drill down that's really personal for you and your agency?
One of the things on property coverage, and I think is overlooked significantly, is building codes coverage.
Okay.
Because things change quite a bit more than they used to, and laws change, building codes change, and things like that. I mean, we've got homes that, are 20 years old, and that, when they pull permits to have to do the new roof after the tornadoes come through and after the hail damage and things like that, we want to make sure that, there's been no, let's see here, what's the term I can use? Okay, got you, ankle biters that come up and get you because you didn't have this, the code is now changed and the structure underneath the shingles have to be brought up and things like that. That's a really big one that we want to make sure explain to people, and it's a very minimal cost, and we really, really push that. That and the scheduled items, I think, are probably the two items that I think probably that we see that are when people come to us, they've missed the boat on because they're trying to just get a cheap premium.
I love it. And when you're looking at maybe their declaration pages from their prior carrier, gives you a real competitive advantage, not just to look at the price on the bottom, but coverage by coverage. How has that competitive advantage of maybe seeing some of that information, how has that helped you?
It's been great. And, you and I years ago talked about Canopy Connect. I think before I signed up with them, I gave you a call and you encouraged it. And that's been a very, very, very helpful tool for us, because a lot of times, people will call in and we start the quote process. We're asking these questions. They don't know the answer. They're not speaking the language we are. And then we get to the price and we're maybe a little bit more. And they're like, well, I just compare it. And I'm like, you know what? Here's the thing. Let me compare it for you, because the details are in the fine print. And that's the part that's going to cost you money. Let me compare it for you. If I win, I win. If I lose, I'm going to tell you straight up, you've got a better deal. You need to stay where you're at, and we'll try again next time. Yeah. But absolutely, things like Canopy has been wonderful for us because, like I say, the details are really typically what, that's the part that people, it ends up making a really big difference in their claims.
No, it's a massive difference. Funny story, 2 days ago, we're quoting my son's chiropractor, and we've spent quite a bit in medical bills with him. And his current policy, his medical payment limits were really low. And I said, there's nothing else. This is what we're going on, because he knows what this is better than us. And he's really exposed over here. So it's a beautiful thing. Hey, Shawn, take me into the community. You're there 22, 23 years. Tell me some things that in a community that are important to you that you're involved in.
Not enough. I really don't do as much as I would like to. I did in the past, coach baseball teams and things like that when the boys did that kind of thing. But man, I tell you, just as they got older and are, like I said, we traveled a lot with my daughter when she was doing competitive cheer. Mm-hmm. We've traveled a lot with my son's band. I don't do as much as I would like to. And I haven't put a big emphasis on that. Like I say, trying to squeeze out as much time with these last few years that I have with the kids. So
No apology for that.
I'm going to say I'm probably lacking a little bit in that area, and that's something I definitely could work on.
But no apologies. I think the timeline between your daughter's age and you being an agent, and you're talking about how this opportunity has given you time to have with your family. I think that's the most relatable thing in the world. I think it was Steve Jobs that said, he had a lot of money, could have bought all the things in the world. He could get someone to drive him where he wanted to go. He can get food made. The only thing he couldn't do was to pay someone to carry the illness around for him. So time is the most precious commodity. And that's one of the things I've always loved about the job is the flexibility, having 3 children like you, being there. Any of the events that they're in, they're never repeated. It's only that cheer competition. This is the only time the band is playing this time while you're here. So you got to be there for those moments, and nothing else matches up.
Yeah. And I even carry that to my staff too in the hiring process. They talk to me about, well, what if my son, I've got an 8-year-old or a 5-year-old or things like that. And I'm like, listen, if you last here, first of all, you're going to be a producer. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get along just fine. And second of all, I will be mad if you miss things like at school, like the kindergarten that, they have the Valentine's Day party where they'll make their envelopes and carry them and drop. I said, you better be there for that, because that happens one time and you don't get it back. And I'm going to be mad if you don't go. Don't worry about what I'm going to think. You tell me when it's going to be. I know that you're not here, and I expect you to be there for those things. And I think that it helps them, know what type of character they're working for. And it puts them at ease as well, that there's someone that supports, oh, well, you don't have, you need to work an extra hour. I'm not like that. I'm not paying for time served.
No,
right?
No.
We're paying for the job done and how we take care of our customers. I'm not worried about hours. So you get there to the school, watch that, go to the pep rally, and, every one of those things, your son's got a traveling baseball team. You need to leave at 4:30 because you have a 3-hour drive. Go. Yeah. Just go.
No, that's beautiful. It doesn't get any better than that. And don't put it on me that you missed it. I asked the exact same thing you asked. The calendar. When is it coming up? Yep. How are we adjusting? Enjoy it, because it's just not going to happen again, no matter what it is, how big, how small. That's the only time this event is taking place at all. Yeah. Shawn, if I was in Edmond today, what local restaurant would we be doing this podcast at?
Gabriella's.
Okay, that was quick. No second thought. What are we ordering? What's on the menu at a Gabriella's?
They're famous for their lasagna.
Oh,
famous for their lasagna. So I've had several friends come in, that I've colleagues that have come in from the insurance business, and that's our go-to. So hands down.
I love it. I got a feel for it already. I know you're a college football guy. OU graduate, Sooners, I assume. Obviously, that's who we're rooting for.
Yes, I actually spent 3 years at University of Arkansas and did not graduate from there. Ended up graduating from University of Oklahoma, and I was always like, as long as they don't ever play each other, then we're great. Well, Oklahoma joins the SEC last year, so I still wear my Arkansas hoodies and stuff like that, and I wear my OU stuff, but I don't know what I'm going to do when they play each other. That's going to be a tough one.
That's tough. I don't know if you're an NBA guy, but I think you have the NBA champions coming out from Oklahoma this year.
Yeah, Oklahoma City Thunder. I've never been a big basketball fan. I actually grew up in the North Carolina mountains, and
nice.
When I was in school there, everything was basketball. I remember being in elementary school, and they rolled televisions and stuck them in the corner and turned them on, and the ACC tournament was going on. And I remember watching Michael Jordan play, college ball, and we were sitting in elementary school, and I remember those days. But everybody was basketball fans back then. I've just always been a football fan.
No apology. Well, the city is going to feel a little bit different if they do what I think they're going to do. I think the energy and the local teams winning, college teams winning, it does something positive for energy for everybody. Shawn, end of a hard day. How do you wind down? How do you move away from it all? I think you've said it. I think you're going to say family, but surprise me with something. What do you do after the end of a long day? How do you wind down?
You're dead on family. And, it seems like I'm always the last one to bed. And, there's a lot of reflection done on that time. My wife, she gets up and she has to be at work really early. So she goes to bed much earlier than the rest of us. And, the kids, are up a little bit later. And then a lot of times I'm, I don't know if it's really wind down because I'm either family time or full throttle. There's not a whole lot of in between. And I'll go into my office at home and I'm like, okay, what beat us up today? Where did we win? Where did we lose? The answer is always the same to solve either one of those problems. And it's more throttle. I mean, there's just full speed ahead. I think that's one of the things that it took me a while in the insurance business, the insurance industry to learn, if I was going to be successful. There's no in between. It's either everything, or you're just not going to make it. So,
well, I love the fact that you're at least taking some time for reflections. In our business, that's the same as film study in sports. Sometimes you have to be quiet to look at what happened. Where did we drop the ball? What could we have done? What should we have done? And you got to look back at it. You got to be quiet so you can hear what's the next move or what didn't you get to. So I love it. I only have 2 speeds. I only have full speed and dead stop. I don't have any in between. I don't have a neutral gear at all. Not a neutral bone in my body at all.
I'm exactly the same way. It's all or nothing. I don't know anything in between, and even I'm getting better on it since I've gotten a little bit older, but for many, many, many years, and I still battle with it. Going on vacation is tough because I have a hard time unplugging, and I enjoy it that much. I enjoy seeing the team grow. I enjoy, helping people in their professional lives do things that they would have never done had they not came here. And that's probably my biggest reward is, not the financial part of it, but, seeing someone, that never had a job this caliber, become something and provide for their family that they never would have been able to do had they not done this.
No, absolutely. We absolutely get a chance to change people's lives.
Yeah.
As you say that, it sounds like you may have been thinking of a couple of people in particular, maybe that have been with you for a long time, started at one station in life, and thanks to their time with you, they've moved pretty far along.
Yeah, absolutely. We have several, and, I've been very blessed throughout the years. You have staff that they come and you try to pour into them and they're just not receptive. They're just not receptive. And it's not that they're bad people. And there's been times in my life where, my bandwidth was full. I can't take on anything else right now. Which is kind of where I'm at with my community efforts right now. I would like to do that, but I just feel like I'm at capacity right now. And if I really try to throw another wrench into it, it could be not good. And that may be where they are in their personal lives. But we certainly try, give them the opportunity. And if they're not buying into our program and they're not willing to help us develop them and coach them, then they don't make it. They don't make it. Just like a football player on another team, if they can be talented, but if they don't put it up, then they're not going to make it. No.
And I think that's more than fair. Everybody must come to themselves that this is the opportunity. This is the one I'm going to give it my all, all the way or no way at all. And definitely can't save all the fish. You just can't, no matter how hard you try.
And that's exactly right. We have I have an agency manager, and one of the first lessons that she learned, we had a staff member that was not producing. It was very difficult, and he hadn't been there very long, and she was ready to, probably let's let this person go. We just wasn't making it. Right. And I had the question. I said, okay, are you going to be able to live with this decision? Have you done everything that you possibly can to make this person succeed? And if you can't, you have to live with that, because you're changing people's lives whenever you end their employment.
Yes.
And if you've done everything that you can, I'm going to support your decision. And she thought about it and come back about a day or two later and says, you know what? I've really thought about it. I think I can do a little bit more with this person.
Nice.
Started some one-on-one coaching, listening to calls, and just really focusing on this one particular person. Changes were made and been a great staff member ever since.
Beautiful.
So, and she was like, I'm so glad that we, had the forethought, or she goes, I'm glad that you had the forethought to slow me down and, make me realize that, hey, I have to make sure that I've done my due diligence with these people, and then if they don't do it, then it's on them at that point. It's not on me.
Absolutely. They've opted out. You haven't walked them out. They've opted out because your place is no longer the place for them. Right. Shawn, you have been a phenomenal guest. Was there anything you wanted to share that I didn't ask about? Gosh,
I don't think so. I'm just, I'm honored to be on here. When I got your email or the message the other day, and I'm like, gosh, Kevin Spann's asking me to be on here. I mean, he is desperate, so, but no, I have the utmost respect for you and seen some of the things that you've done professionally and in your community. And I'm just honored to be here.
No, honored to have you as a guest. And Shawn, you and I have that in common in the coaching space. I was a coaching dad. I coached as my kids played, but when they moved on, I moved on as well. And having older children, some similar to your age and some older, the opportunity to catch them, I define a good day today. I think last Saturday I saw all three of my sons and all three of my grandchildren. That's just like a major win. We didn't do any noteworthy or post-worthy activity, but just seeing them does something, and that's bigger than all the things that we celebrate publicly. But thank you, my friend. Thank you for bringing me and the whole Wine Down with Kev community down to Edmond, Oklahoma. I will catch you on one of these hunting trips. I won't say when or where.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. I will stay in the back, though. I don't want to be in front of anybody. I'll stay in the back.
That's all right. Just if you're present, you're going to have a great time. That's all that matters.
I love it. Shawn, thank you, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Wine Down with Kev. If you enjoyed the content we created today, and I know you enjoyed all of these amazing stories, you know what to do. Click on the subscribe and the notifications button below so we can continue to bring you great content just like this. Also, please support my sponsors that you see flashing on the screen behind me: Canopy Connect, Carroll Media, and Wintrust Bank. And last but definitely not least, please put your warm Wine Down with Kev hands together and give a nice round of applause to my friend, Shawn Reeves.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.